Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope y'all are having a good one. It's gonna be another hot one today. Looks like. In fact, it's gonna be that way all week. So you won't be seeing much of me outside this week for sure. Um, Go out there and check on my mater plants and make sure they're watering. That's about it for me. Let's take a look, see who's hanging out with us today. We have Mr. Larry Galt says, "Good morning, everyone. Felt much cooler at 98 with wind blowing at 20 miles per hour." Yeah, if you got a breeze, that makes a big difference. Probably makes it feel like 97, right? Mark Lindsay's here this morning. He says, "Morning, y'all. Cloudy and 45 in Southern Oregon. Looking at a high of 74. Man, that sounds pretty good right there. That sounds real good right there." Darren Bird's in the house. Good morning, Darren. Monroe Cook, 64, headed to 90 degrees. I guess that's West Virginia. Is that where you're at, Monroe? John Howard's in the house. Good morning, John. Hope you are doing well. Marcelo Ballone, good morning. Clyde's here. Good morning, Clyde. David Burnett says, "Morning. We're enjoying temps in the 90s with a heat index greater than 100. AC went out yesterday. Anyone want to adopt me?" Man, that's rough right there. I remember, now I've lost track of how long it's been since I had to buy a whole new system, furnace, evaporator coil, the thing outside, the whole 9 yards. It's probably been, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, I guess. But I remember when it went out, it was right around Labor Day weekend. And I knew it was going to cost a small fortune. I didn't want to have to pay holiday pay for those jokers to come put it in over a holiday weekend. So I just toughed it out. I went and bought a window unit and tried to just stay in one room or whatever. Yeah, it's okay. I got by. I mean, heck, I grew up in Indiana. We didn't even have air conditioning until I was probably a teenager. But and even then, we had a little dinky, small one-room air conditioner. Like we had it in a room we called the den, and it just had like a big curtain that separated because it wasn't really another wall there. It was just a big curtain. But yeah, we'd all kind of gather up in there just to get cool. But yeah, we got by. Sean's here today. How you doing, Sean? Good to see you. Jim Senecola's here. Good morning, Jim. Dennis Nolan's here. Good morning, Dennis. I scrolled too far. Jesse's here. Good morning, Jesse. Kevin Ells is here. Good morning. There's JR. How you doing, JR? You ready for the big move? I tell you what, I don't. I know it's probably exciting getting ready to do a whole new shop and stuff, but man, all that moving stuff, I just would really hate having to do all that. George Rothfuss in the house. Summertime thunderstorms all night. Yeah. They're talking like we might could get some pop-up storms today, but when you got this kind of heat, you kind of expect that. Gary says, "Good morning in the Georgia oven." Yeah. Yep. Larry says, "Neat scoop, Dennis Nolan." I think he's talking about it. I saw a notification, but I hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. I think Dennis had a new YouTube video come out this morning. I'll have to go check that out. Mary Mallory's in the house. Good morning, Mary. Hope you're doing well. Hope your CNC's running good. Monroe Cook is here. He's answering when I ask him about the West Virginia thing, I think. Troy Pritchard's here. John says he can fix AC units. All right. JR says, does anyone know if PLA filament has a shelf life? I found 8 unopened box spools of PLA and will give it away locally. Been stored inside the house. Air conditioning, is about 2 years old. Is it still got the he says it's unopened spool, so I'm assuming it's probably still got the shrink wrap with the little silica gel pack in it. I mean, if you're going to give them away to somebody, if they're not any good, they can't really say nothing if you're giving them to them. So, but I would think they might still be good if they're unopened. I don't know what the shelf life of that stuff is. I know they'll go bad and get brittle if you leave them out, opened up. But since these are unopened, they might still be good. Thomas Grimm in the house this morning. Larry Gaunt says, I grew up with an attic fan, no AC at our house, and that was in Houston. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have an attic fan. We had a, I guess for lack of a better word, it was a big old window fan. And we had weird kind of windows. We had our windows in our house were way up off the floor. They were, way up off. And then they were probably 3 foot tall. And then it just had, a thing they slid sideways. And I remember we had this great big old fan that took up the whole window. And what we would do at night is, Mom would make sure everybody had their bedroom windows closed all but about a couple of inches. And then she would turn that fan on, but it would blow out instead of blowing in. So it would create a draft sucking in air. And that's how we got by for years. And I survived. So I think people are a lot softer these days than, especially the young ones, because we grew up that way. No big deal to us. But if you tried to do it now, they'd be whining like crazy. But anyway, Clyde said he never had air until he was married. All right. Okay, yeah, still in the shrink wrap. Yeah, they're probably still good. They're probably still good. I don't know. There you go. Sean's he says, I've had some PLA 5 years old and works good. Yeah. I think it's all in how you keep them. If they're unboxed and still in that wrap, as long as you haven't opened them, I think they'll probably be all right. Dennis says, I've had some PLA over 2 years and it's doing good. Been in the house at 74 year round. Yep. Mark says, I was 31 before I lived in a house without AC. I refused to live in a house without AC ever since. Yeah. Well, like I said, as we get older, we get soft. I wouldn't want to live without it now either, but I'm just saying, when you're young and that's all you know, you don't know any different, I guess. So, Mary says she remembers growing up without AC in Georgia. Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's just, like I said, if you grow up without it, you don't know any different. So it's only once you get it and then you don't have it, you're like, oh man. But I finished my little thing yesterday. Yesterday I showed you I was going to make a copy of one of these, and if I can get around to editing the video, I'll shoot a video on how to make this a couple of different ways. But I ran it and it came out perfect. So The only thing I did have, I noticed, and I thought about it, and then I thought, well, if it messes up, it messes up. I'm going to let it go. But when I put it on here, if you look, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there you can. It's got a little kind of lip so that when you put the hose on here, it kind of butts up against something. And I was running it like this, and I thought, well, when it gets up here, it's going to go straight out 90, but it's only going out about 1/8 of an inch. And I did get a few little loose strands here, but then once it got straightened out, it finished the rest of it just fine. So I just have to kind of clean those up. But and I knew it was probably going to do that because I didn't put any kind of support or nothing. I just thought, I'll let it go and see, because it's not hanging over that far. So it didn't really get a nice square corner on that bottom edge, but good enough for a hose adapter for sure. So, and that thing, I mean, you look at the rest of this, it's just, I tell you what, I know I keep bragging on them Ender 3s, but man, just push the button and walk off, leave it, let it do its thing. That's all I do. Love those little things. But anyway, I got to ask for some recommendations if anybody's can help me out. I need to get a pole saw. I've never had a pole saw, and I need one. I got some stuff that actually it kind of ticks me off because it's not even trees that are on my property. They're across well on the other side of my property line. But the way the sun is coming up on the east back this way, there's other trees to the west of them. So the only way they can get any sun is, you know how like when you have a plant and you stick it in the windowsill and it leans toward the window, and if you turn it around, it'll keep trying to lean toward the sun. That's what these limbs are doing. So it's big old limbs that are just coming out and coming out trying to get to the sun. And they're well off my property line, but a couple of them are getting over where they're getting close to messing with where my power lines go to my house. So I need to get a little pole saw. So if y'all have recommendations on a good one, first it's got to be cheap because I don't want to spend a bunch of money on something I'm only going to use, once in a blue moon. Secondly, I think I've kind of changed my way of thinking as I've gotten older. Used to, I never wanted anything electric because I didn't want to have to fool with cords and 100-foot of cord and all that kind of stuff. I always wanted the 2-cycle gas stuff, but now that I'm older, I found that when you have a tool like that and it's something that you just like a weed eater, it sets up all winter and then you go to use it the next year, unless you've run the gas out of it or something. And then, you always have to worry about having the right gas, the right oil mixture, is it fresh gas, all that kind of stuff. So I just don't like pulling on stuff anymore. So I've kind of gone just the opposite way. It's not that I'm, being Mr. Green or anything. I could care less about that. I could care less about that. I just don't want to pull on something. So, and I don't really mind dragging a cord out now, because to me, that's easier than having to pull on something. If you plug it in and you pull the trigger and it goes, that's what I want. But I've also thought about some, as I've looked a little bit, I've seen some of these that are the battery type. And I know the battery technology's gotten much better, than what it used to be. So if anybody's got a recommendation on a good, inexpensive pole saw, whether it be a battery operated or even an electric, let me know, as I'm in the market for one. Mark says, I don't think we get soft. We finally get smart. Yeah, maybe so. Let's see. Dennis says, oh, wait a minute. I missed one. Anyone remember sitting on a block of ice in the window in front of a fan? That worked well for us poor folks. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. That's a poor man's air conditioner there. All right, Dennis says I've had a cheap Harbor Freight pole saw for over 5 years. It's doing good. By getting now, what is it? Electric, battery, or uh, 2-cycle? Because I got a Harbor Freight real close, and they do send me a coupon occasionally, like 3 or 4 times a day. He says if it's getting close to the power lines, call the power company. They'll come out and trim those trees back away. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not bad yet, but and I want to get them cut down too, because they're kind of, like I said, those trees are trying to get to the sun. So the limbs might be way up high, but they swoop down and then come out. It's amazing how they grow to try to find the sunshine. But it's an oak tree, but it's one that's not even on my property. It's probably 20 feet on the other side of the line. But I've got some other stuff that I just need to go along my fence row in the back and cut a bunch of stuff. Yeah, power company. Well, they're not going to come do my whole yard though. They'll come do that, but I got other stuff I need to. It's only that I noticed that it's getting close to the power lines is when I thought, well, yeah, I need to go ahead and get one of those things. And then as I got to looking around, I thought, yeah, I got a whole bunch of other stuff I got to cut too. But like I said, that's a tool I won't be using, once a week or something. So I don't want to spend a lot of money, and I don't want to have to pull, start one. Okay. Dennis says it's a Harbor Freight 40-watt battery with plenty of power. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, maybe that's what I'll just get then. Thomas says the current Harbor Freight Flyer has one for $59. That's not bad. Troy says I have an electric chain pole saw from Harbor Freight. Extends to about 8 feet, around $60. All right. Well, if y'all have got, how it is, you have to ask about the Harbor Freight stuff, because some stuff you get from there and it's great, lasts for a long time, and then other stuff, it's kind of disposable. So Gary says he has a Ryobi electric. Yeah. He says I have a manual pole saw. Yeah, I don't want one of those. That sounds like work right there. Yeah, I don't want one of those. All right, John's got to go. He says he's got to go work on an ice machine at Hardee's. All right, have a good Tuesday, John. I woke up this morning. I can already tell I'm probably going to have to get a nap later, because I woke up this morning about 3 o'clock. Could not go back to sleep for nothing. Laid awake until about close to 6:30, I guess. And Jack says, come on, we might as well get up. So he got up and started wandering around. But while I was sitting there in bed trying to go back to sleep, I reached over and grabbed my phone and took a look at I have an app on my phone where I can look at my security footage to see if anything exciting happened in the middle of the night. And whenever you look at the thing, if you guys have security cameras, you probably know what I'm talking about. But like, it'll have a bar at the bottom of the screen, and it'll be green. And if there's any yellow stripes in it, that means there was movement. That the camera picked up some movement. So that's what you go dial into, because if you just try to watch it all, it's pretty boring. So I always move it to the little yellow spots and look. Sometimes it's just a moth or something, that flies by and triggers the motion thing. But anyway, at about 5:35 a.m., I was watching the camera that shoots straight out my it's on the corner of my garage, but it shoots straight out my driveway. And most of the time I keep it like that because when I always back both my vehicles in, the gas thing is on that side. So if anybody would ever try to come siphon gas or something, especially these days, I'd get a pretty good picture of them uh, because the camera's pointing right at them. But anyway, I was sitting there about or looking at the time at 5:35 a.m. And I also have on both sides of my garage, I have motion sensor lights, some floodlights, so they'll kick on when something gets close. Well, anyway, I'm looking at the camera, and of course, I can see something walking on that side of my vehicles. And at first, again, I thought it was a cat, and then as it got close enough, it triggered the motion sensor on those lights, and of course, the lights pop on as bright as all get out, and it was Jack's new buddy, the fox, was out there walking around. So, but I let him out this morning. He didn't do any barking, so I don't know. I don't know where the fox went, but he was out there this morning, and I'm surprised he's hanging around my house because I have neighbors just not really far at all, a stone's throw away, really, that have outside chickens, outdoor chickens, backyard chickens, I guess you call them. And I used to have them, but I don't have them anymore. So that's one thing I always worried about. That's why I built my chicken coop really fox proof, because didn't want them to dig under it and stuff. But yeah, I don't know why the fox would be hanging around here when he could go down there and probably having some chicken nuggets or something. He's if he times it right. And there's another neighbor even farther down that has them too. So let's see. Mark says I had a motion sensor porch like cats in this neighborhood had that thing going off like a strobe light. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I get an occasional cat. I mean, I've seen all kinds of things on my security. It's amazing what goes through your yard at night that you have no idea about unless you have a security camera and go back and check. I've had armadillos go through. I've had possum, fox, deer, just all kinds of, and cats, lots of cats, just all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Clyde says, I don't think you can siphon gas out of your tank anymore. Well, that's good to know. Is there some kind of little block thing in there? Whatever. I mean, I haven't ever had it happen that I know of, but it's good to know if there's something in there that will prevent it. All right, Dennis says, off topic for this morning. We don't have a topic, Dennis. Come on. We just talk about whatever. So off topic for this morning, but I want to put a laser on my Gatton. Any suggestions? Yeah. Here's my suggestion. Don't put one on there. I tell you that now I always use point back here. It's not back here anymore, but those little standalone lasers, they are way better than anything you can put on your Gatton CNC. They're faster. When you have it on the CNC, you either have to take it off and put it on, or if you leave it on and leave it hanging, it's going to get dusty and stuff. if you're wanting something, and I'm assuming you probably want something to maybe engrave your logo and stuff on bowls you turn, or turning projects and stuff like that. I'm telling you, one of those cheap little lasers, standalone desktop lasers, are the stuff. They are way better. They're way faster. You can do more with them. Um, and it's you're basically talking about engraving. You some of them, if you put air assist on them, they'll cut little thin stuff, but they're not a CO2 laser. They're just diode lasers. But that's what I would suggest. Yeah, if you want to put one on your Gatton, yeah, you can. I've had one on mine, and uh, I've had one on a lot of different CNCs. But now that I've bought that standalone laser, I wouldn't even bother with it anymore. So that's why I would, if anybody asked me, I'd say, nah, just get one of those. You'd be a lot better off. And the way I mean, they're super light. They're lighter than a 3D printer, and they don't have a whole lot of height, but you can just pick them up and stick, blocks under them or whatever you want to do. Like if you got a really tall bowl, or the bottom of a vase or something that you're wanting to put the logo on, those things are just way better, in my opinion. You know what they say about opinions. Okay, Mary says she had a big snapping turtle hanging out. All right. Let's see here. Troy says a lot of the gas filler tubes have a screen in them nowadays. Yeah. I don't know if that would, if it was just a screen, if that would really stop a persistent thief. Of course, it'd be my luck if they couldn't get the gas, they'd just crawl under it and steal the catalytic converter. That's the big thing around here. Well, not here, but around Atlanta and stuff. That's what they do. People get up and go out. If they live where they have to park on the street or something, they go out there and fire up their car and go, "Oh man, it sounds awful," and find out they stole their catalytic converter. And I don't get why they steal those. I don't know what do they get for them things. I don't know. And anybody that's trying to get money for a catalytic converter, wouldn't you think it's stolen or something? I don't get how that works, but I just don't know a lot about crime, since I'm not one of them criminal types. Let's see here. Larry says they've been drilling a hole in the gas tank, draining in a can here in Texas. Yeah. Yeah. I saw somebody, what's his name? Brett something. He's posted 2 pictures on Facebook, and I guess 2 different times. He's got a diesel truck. Of course, diesel's out of sight. And 2 different times they've got him for, stolen this diesel thing. So Dennis says, did I get mine off eBay? No, I bought mine. Oh, let's see. Where did I get that thing? Usually it's someplace on Amazon, but I don't think I did get that. I bought it. Oh, I know what it was. It was a company called Made the Best, madethebest.com. And mine is an Otour Laser Master 2 Pro. But you can find, those things are getting just like 3D printers. You can find them now. The prices come down, and there's all kinds of clones. There's one called the X Tool or something like that. That's a really good one. George says, I love how Dave's perspective has changed over the years, like the laser attachment to the Gatton. Yeah, well, see, back when I started playing with lasers, there wasn't all these other kinds of desktop lasers. There was the little diode lasers that you could get from JTech. So that was the thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I still have my JTech and I could go put it on one of my CNCs and it would work great. But it's still nothing like that little desktop laser. I could do a whole lot more with that little desktop laser than I can that one. Technology changes. You got to go with the flow. What you got to do. Clyde Scott, he's out here. He says, "Have a good one." All right, see you, Clyde. I guess my timer did go. I guess I'll get out of here. I'm gonna be so hot that I'm not gonna be doing much outside, but I am gonna be one of them people that poke out the window and be watching for the Amazon man. I got something cool coming today. I'll share with y'all if it comes. You know how they are. They say I had to be there by 10 today, so we'll see. Last time I ordered something, it said, yeah, I'd be there by 10. I waited all day for that thing. I thought, that's not going to make it. They're going to have to send me one of them emails telling me it's running late. And sure enough, it came about 8:30 that night. But anyway, hopefully it'll come today, and y'all will be hearing about that in the very near future. Probably do a live in a unboxing and assembly video. Maybe. We'll see. It's kind of hot out there in the garage, but we might do that. Anyway, let me get out of here. Y'all have a good Tuesday, and we will see y'all tomorrow, I guess, for number 503. Everybody have a good one.